Heaven has no rage like love to hatred turned, nor hell a fury like a woman scorned.
In the year 1987, a girl named Alice fell from the high school roof. The events surrounding her death would change the small town of Alexandria forever.
Roland, get those people back behind the tape!
Let me through! Let me through, damn it!
Chloe!
Dad, is it Alice?
Honey, you shouldn't be here.
I want to see her.
Chloe, you can't.
Alice!
A flash. Chloe was now someplace else. The town cemetery, standing over Alice's grave.
I miss you so much, Alice.
Overcome with emotion, Chloe dropped down to her knees and cried. 6 months may have passed, but the pain she felt for her friend's loss hadn't diminished. As she cried, the world around her grew dark and cold.
Chloe.
Her heart stopped. She held her breath.
Alice.
A hand burst out of the ground and grabbed Chloe's throat in its iron grip. She struggled to break free, but the hand was too strong. As she faded into unconsciousness, Chloe thought one last time of Alice. Chloe was safe and sound in her bed. Just another nightmare like all the others. The loss of Alice was haunting her. Chloe couldn't get back to sleep, so she slipped on her trainers and went for an early morning run. She ran through the pre-dawn gloom, watched the sunrise over the countryside, and even paid Alice's grave a visit to make certain it was undisturbed before returning home. Everything had changed after Alice died. 6 months ago, her father had been the chief of police, and her brother Charlie had been full of life. Now both were neither. Even most mundane things, like sitting down for breakfast, felt wrong.
Well, this is nice. I can't remember the last time we had breakfast together. I know things are tough right now, but you know you can always tell me anything. We're a team, right?
Dad,
Yes, sweetie?
I better get ready for school.
Honey, you know I love you.
Chloe knew he did. But after he ruled Alice's death a suicide, she wondered sometimes if she still loved him.
Morning, sweetie.
One of the biggest changes in the Butler house was Jackie. Once Charlie's best friend, he was now Chloe's boyfriend, which was odd, as people remembered Chloe despising the mayor's son.
I was thinking we could do something this weekend.
Like what?
My uncle said I could use his beach house. It's in this beautiful, secluded spot. Very quiet, very romantic. Maybe we could light a fire on the beach, put on some music, maybe have a little fun.
Getting sand everywhere doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
I know, but
I better shower before class.
love you.
The reason for Chloe's sudden change of character was simple. Jackie and his friends had been the ones to find Alice's body and call it in, and while their statement had been enough to satisfy her father, she still had questions, and getting closer to him and his friends would give her a chance to find out what they were hiding.
And it's here I think we've reached an impasse. Can we all agree that the role of a journalist is to report the news, and not be a part of it? Okay, let's take another look at our town's paper's first headline. Council mourns rebellion. What's wrong with this headline?
It wasn't a rebellion, it was a massacre.
You're suggesting this isn't a fair representation of the facts?
They shot 5 women for wanting to be treated equally. How's that fair? The town elders killed them and used the newspaper to justify their actions.
So, the facts, as reported, were a biased point of view, written by a writer who allowed their personal opinion drive the narrative. What about this?
Teen suicide shocks town. The paper's front page opinion piece about Alice's death. Suicide. Chloe couldn't believe Miss Rose would bring this up.
I know, this is a very confronting topic. Alice was one of us. The feelings we have about this are still fresh. But I feel this is something we need to bring out into the open if we're to heal.
I don't see how this is the same thing.
She jumped. I saw it myself.
She was just a screwed up girl who took the easy way out.
That's bullshit. You didn't even know her.
Yeah, well, you did, and you did nothing to help her.
Fuck you.
Matthew, language.
Swear jar, motherfucker.
Michael! Look, it wasn't my intention to cause an argument here.
Then why bring it up?
Because Alice Evans was a lot like you. She had a bright future ahead of her. Good grades, parents who loved her. Then one day she decided to take her life. The police gave us no answers, neither did the Gazette or the mayor's office. And like all tragedies in this town, the truth will only be forgotten.
Alice didn't kill herself.
But Miss Rose was right. Horrible things in Alexandria did have a way of being forgotten, and while the town was in shock about Alice's death one day, they moved on to something else the next. But it was her friendship with Alice that made things like that bearable, and while Chloe was surrounded by people that loved her, she had never felt more alone.
I can't believe you think Alice killed herself.
I didn't say that.
As good as. But you never knew her. None of you did. They all shed a tear and act like they care, but where was that compassion when she was alive? You're all a bunch of hypocrites. She had plans, bigger than this town. All the while people laughed at her and called her a freak. You didn't know anything about her.
I know something terrible happened that night. I know this town hasn't done enough to give us answers.
You know what I know? I know someone hurt Alice, maybe worse. And I'm not going to stop until I make them all pay.
I know you won't.
Heaven has no rage like love to hatred turned, nor hell a fury like a woman scorned.
Chloe was played by Emma Peden. Jade and Alice by Shani Lee Smith. Miss Rose was played by Chintamara Vivian. Matt by Jacob Kilner. Connor by Michael Krause. Drew and Charlie by Alex Jackson. With Dan Sanguinetti as Henry, Russell Lee as Mike, and Pat Gallagher as the narrator.